What is going on, everybody? Vuo here, back with a brand new episode of Umineko When They Cry. Last time around, we finally had dinner, and the weather was finally allowed to the rest of the family via Rosa, and everyone was, theorizing about who this Beatrice person is and what they should do, and the kids went back to the guest house with Nanjo. And there they discussed the possible existence of Beatrice. And Kumasawa and Nanjo both explained that, well, Kumasawa, if I remember correctly, it's been a minute, said that the servants like to kind of pretend that Beatrice exists for the sake of Kenzo. So I was realizing, which servants really do think Beatrice actually exists, or just merely pretending that she exists just for the sake of Kenzo. Nanjo did say that Kenzo explained to him that Beatrice was a past mistress of his, but Nanjo himself never did meet her. But from episode 1, Genji said that Beatrice was an actual mistress of Kenzo. And I think Beatrice actually did exist at one point in time, because that would match up with the kind of magic system within the When They Cry universe, as we saw with Rika and Burncastle, that there's always a actual person before the witch manifests in the extra dimensional magic whatever, in the fragments or whatever. There's always an actual person that manifests the, second other person. So the question is, why is Beatrice, was that her actual name before? Beatrice. Or is it the witch's name of, the current witch's name that she's existing within the mansion right now? Whatever. Anyway, the parents gathered together to meet Beatrice, and somehow, in some way, Beatrice has convinced every single one of them, including Kyrie, that she is a witch. So I'm very curious on where that is going to go. Also, Happy New Year, 2024. Starting off with a Umineko video. A very joyous, game that nothing sad happens in it at all. I don't have to think about what my humanity is about or whatever. I got a couple of great comments last time, such as a commenting on Shannon Kanon's perspectives on life and how include Santa Claus, in which Kanon's whole perspective or his philosophy is, why should I learn about something even though if I'm going to lose it, such as love. He knows he can't have that love forever. But with Shannon, from her perspective, she'd rather have that love now than lose it later, just to experience those emotions firsthand. And I have to agree with Shannon. There's no right answer, but I feel like you should feel those emotions firsthand. Then, even though you're going to lose it eventually, I mean, that's just part of life. We all know we're all going to die. Great intro, Void. This is just that type of game. When They Cry gives me opportunities to talk about these things. But I rather enjoy life, even though I know it's going to be finite. What was another comment that I really liked? Oh yeah. Does Genji actually believe Beatrice exists, or is he so respective of Kenzo that he continues his promise to him after his death? And that is a great question. I don't think we know that much about Genji. We barely know anything about Genji. But I feel like Genji is the type of guy that he would continue lying to about Kenzo's, Beatrice, that she is a witch. I feel like Genji's that type of man. Was there anything else last episode that was... Actually, let me go look real quick. Oh, yes! A fantastic point was brought up last time in the comments. Concerning the riddle of the epitaph riddle about the gold. Beatrice and Kinzo would both give it up if somebody would solve it. Now, why would they do that? Why would they give it up if someone would be able to solve it? And I have no idea, particularly, if we use the chess line of thinking, it makes no sense to give up your winning move just because someone solves your riddle of the gold. So that means the gold... There's something else besides the gold itself that the family needs to find in order to, I guess, break the curse of Beatrice or whatever. So why would they give it up if someone were to solve it? I don't know. It's a very intriguing question I'll keep in mind as we keep going. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. Chapter 9, Halloween. It is not Halloween. What is that sound that always fills my ears? Is it the sound of the rain, the sound of a waterfall, or could it be radio static? If not, I want it to be the sound of blood flowing through my body. Well, that's interesting. I want it to be the sound of the blood circulating throughout me, telling me that I'm still alive. Whoa.
Asa nanoka.
Kinzo's still around, okay. The light entering through a crack in the curtain was faint, but it at least told him that dawn had broken. Kinzo, still in the position he'd been when he woke up, still sitting in the chair and looking up at the ceiling, felt the blood slowly travel throughout his body. Judging by the clock, it was early morning, 6 on the dot. No matter how tired he was, no matter how deeply he slept, he always woke up at exactly this time, as though he had measured it with an hourglass. He didn't think of this as something to boast about, but he told himself that, as long as he could still manage this, his health couldn't be that bad.
朝を迎えたということは、どうやら最初の生贄は逃れたということらしい。
Interesting.
ルーレットの目が幸運だったのか、我が努力の賜物なのか。
You got lucky.
区別のつかぬところがなんとももどかしいが、それは言うまい。
Oh, actually, he did survive the first murder in episode 1. Never mind. Kinzo was struck by a faint desire to see beyond the sturdy door. After all, he might find the traces of someone's vain struggle to break through the door. A sign that someone had tried to select him as one of the first 6 sacrifices. Someone.
人間とは安っぽい生き物だな。人事を尽くして天命を待ちながら幸運を得られた時にはそれが単なる幸運ではなく己の技量によるものだったとうぬぼれたくもなる。
That was why he wanted to check whether there was a wretched mark on the door. The very desire was human. And that was why Kinzo did not check. He often rejected desires that came to him because he was human. By doing that, he could be immersed in a feeling of sufficiency, as though he himself had become a being that surpassed humans. He recognized human desires for what they were, and guarded against them. Things that a human would want to do, he resisted. Well, this eccentricity and rebellious nature had surely given him a rare genius, making it possible for him to succeed in his exploits as he revived the Ushio Mira family in a single generation.
さて、ベアトリーチェ。お前が取った6つの駒は何なのか?
Well, that's kind of a contradiction, Kinzo. You say you are against human desires, even though you keep screaming out for your beloved Beatrice. It kind of is interesting because Kinzo kind of has a eccentric personality, 100%. He flip flops, between the, old master, head of the family, master, Kinzo, and the magic love bound by Beatrice's, spell, Kinzo.
そして次なる手はどう来るのか楽しませてもらうぞ私の守りは完璧だ
Entertain me.
前回のような無様はさらさぬぞ
Last time. Has this happened before the ceremony? What last time would he be referring to? The servants woke early. They had to open the curtains, prepare breakfast, and complete various other tasks to welcome the guests to a new day. Goda was the most enthusiastic. Okay, Goda's still alive. During the family conference, he had been told to concentrate his efforts, especially in cooking. And he'd been specially exempted from several tasks that servants normally must do. Goda, who was a show-off, seemed to be feeling particularly superior because of that. He let Genji and the rest prepare the rest of the mansion and worked on making breakfast in the kitchen. Genji split the work with Shannon and Kanon and they carried out various tasks. Okay, Shannon's alive still. Shannon headed to the dining hall and knocked. Last year, the family conference had continued into the early hours of the morning. It wouldn't have been odd if this year's conference had done the same. Considering the possibility that they were still having a discussion inside, she knocked. But there was no response, so she opened the door and said good morning. Nobody's there. The room was cold, and the conference seemed to have ended a long time before. There was a tea set on the table from which they'd probably been drinking, arranged in a way that would make it easy to clean up. Cleaning up the tea was the servant's job. If the family members were extra generous and cleaned it up themselves, the servants would lose face. So it was a truly pleasant act of kindness for the family to do only this much. As she approached the table to clean it up, she noticed something like a memo that had been left near the utensils and cups. Memo. Since it was right next to the tea set, Shannon picked it up, naturally thinking it was a memo for the servant doing the cleaning. When there was not a request, nor was it thanks for preparing the tea, there was just a single word. Shannon looked at it blankly and read it out loud. Chapel. Interesting. Meanwhile, at the guest house. I feel like I know for a fact there was never a mention of a chapel on the island. Because I would probably remember if there was a chapel. Did Beatrice give that letter to the adults and they went to this chapel, I guess? And what happened to them then? A small sound kept repeating over and over. Normally, that sound would have been too trivial to be worth caring about. If only I could stop hearing it soon, I could go back to sleep right away, she thought vaguely. But no matter how much time passed, the sound did not end. It repeated over and over. Ah, shut up. Who is it? Banging on the door this whole time. Whoa. As soon as she realized that, she woke up. Someone was knocking. Then she noticed that it wasn't just a knock, but a voice as well.
Rosa-sama. Rosa-sama.
Oh, Rosa.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
待って。今行きます。
It had been Genji's voice. Looking at the clock, it wasn't even 7 yet. It was clearly too early to wake the guests. Did something happen that was bad enough to cause this? She felt her sleepiness increasingly fade thanks to this premonition of misfortune. Though Genjin was a servant, Rosa had known him since her childhood days, so even though she was slightly defenseless in her pajamas, she opened the door a crack and answered.
おはようございます。早朝から申し訳ございません。
何かあったの？
はい。実は礼拝堂に。
Oh shit. Genji whispered something into Rosa's ear. For a second it seemed Rosa couldn't understand what she'd been told. After having it repeated several times, she realized that apparently something strange had happened. Rosa closed her door for a second, changed her clothes quickly, and followed Genji towards the mansion. The chapel requires some explanation. Yeah, please. It wasn't in the mansion, but in a grove behind it, a short walk's distance away. It had been built at the same time as the mansion, so though its walls had been repaired many times, making it look new from the outside, it was a very old building. Rosa dashed through the rain along with Genji. Just like the previous night, the rain was falling in earnest. Whoa. That is... God, that is such a blood-borne looking chapel. Eventually, the chapel came into sight from beyond a thin grove. Just looking at it from the outside, it seemed a place of dazzling beauty where a pair of young lovers might want to get married. However, Kinzo apparently viewed it as a very sacred place. So Rosa and her siblings had begun strict instructions not to approach it unnecessarily. Really? Okay. Even though they were all grown up now, approaching the chapel for any reason would still make them feel guilty. And also afraid, as if their father might get angry and hit them in the face. The servant silhouettes could be seen in front of the chapel's entrance. Goda, Shannon, and Kanon. Which meant that all of the servants on the morning shift had gathered. A short while ago, Genji had spoken to Rosa, telling her what the situation was. However, without laying eyes on it directly, she definitely hadn't been able to understand. It was probably the same for all the servants gathered here as well. Without seeing it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. Oh boy. That same fucking symbol. Shit. On the door at the entrance to the chapel was something very large, drawn with a creepy, stringy paint that made one think of blood. Something like a creepy magic circle. Hell's Halls. Oh boy. The servants looked at each other. Goda was the first to open his mouth.
申し訳ございません。普段はここへは立ち入りませんもので、いつ書かれたのかはわかりません。
じゃあ最初に見つけたのは誰？はい、私です。食堂へお茶の道具の片付けに行きましたら、礼拝堂と書かれたメモがあったもので。
Sharon held out the memo with a shaking hand.
誰の字？兄さんや姉さんの字ではないわね。それであなたはここへ来てこれを見つけたのね。はい。
ローザ様、これを。
何？
Happy Halloween for...
ハッピーハロウィン。for...
Kanon point at a single line of English wouldn't below the creepy magic circle. Until it had been pointed out to her, she thought it was just another part of the magic circle. There, the following words were written in English. Happy Halloween for Maria. Oh shit. Happy Halloween for Maria. This creepy magic circle was for Maria. Happy Halloween. Yesterday, only one person had said Happy Halloween to Maria. The key phrase matched. It was the Golden Witch Beatrice.
Maria wa?
Why the hell would she write that though?
あの子、いとこたちと一緒に寝てるはずよね。確認した。
申し訳ございません。マリア様のお名前が書かれていたことには今気づきましたもので、まだ確認しておりません。
Oh fuck.
至急。
何やってんのよ。私はマリアの様子を見てきます。それからクラウス兄さんたちにも知らせて、以後の対応の指示を受けて。
After saying that much, Rosa finally noticed that something was odd. Her own wake in the family conference was the lowest of the four siblings. Why had she been the only one called during an abnormal situation like this, when the other siblings hadn't been? Even if Maria's name had popped up.
まさか。
はい。旦那様にご連絡申し上げようとしたのですが、お姿が見当たらず。
奥様もお部屋におられません。シーツの様子からすると、昨べはベッドに戻られていないのかもしれません。
Rosa felt something creepy crawling slowly up her back.
礼拝堂の中確認した。いえ、まだです。
Oh boy.
確認しようとしたのですが。
実は礼拝堂の鍵は特別でマスターキーに対応しておりません。
Really?
一本だけある鍵でしか開けられないのですが、その鍵がキーボックスから紛失しているのです。
She didn't want to get closer to the door of the creepy magic circle if she could. Rosa readied herself and approached, then tried pushing and pulling the knob. All she felt was the resistance of the sturdy lock.
入れる窓などがないか探してはみたのですが、もし中を確認するのでしたら窓を破らなければならないかと思います。いかがいたしましょう。
そんな許可私に出せるわけがないわ。お父様の大切な礼拝堂なのよ。そんなことできないわよ。
At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. That's right. When I met that witch in the rose garden, didn't she hand Maria an envelope? Yeah, there's no mistake, she did hand it over. When Maria tried to open it, the witch told her not to do it yet, and then she surely said, "The time to open that will come soon." Rosa was sure. There could be no mistake. The envelope Maria had received was... It's the one letter that said chapel, wasn't it? After dashing back to the guest house, Rosa approached her cousin's room while hiding her footsteps. Softly opened the door and peered inside. From the inside, she could hear the healthy snores typical of young people. There were 4 children, and Maria was there. Okay. Sleeping soundly. After breathing a sigh of relief, she entered the room with quiet footsteps. She was after Maria's handbag, which was resting on the sofa. Maria always liked carrying her treasures around with her. She was probably emulating how her mother always carried her makeup with her. Of course, she was just imitating her mother, so everything on the inside was junk. In Maria's case, it was full of small, creepy occult items, notebooks describing things of that nature, and so on. Rosa had never been happy to see her daughter walking around with things like that, which weren't garish at all. However, trying to force Maria to stop would result in a big fight, so she decided to let it be. Oh, it's still here. The western envelope with the crest of the golden eagle. When she took it out of the bag, she realized that there was a heavy, vaguely cylindrical object inside. She could tell by its feel and its weight. There was no doubt this was a key. After turning around and checking that Maria was still sound asleep, Rosa tore open the envelope and the contents spilled out into her palm. It was a key with an old and intricate design. Rosa gripped that key and dashed out. Okay. So it seems like Beatrice planned to lure them into the chapel and then give the key to Maria. Okay. Interesting. Bad always seemed to have noticed that sound, but after grumbling and turning around over in his sleep, he started snoring again. Okay.
源氏さん、この鍵、ひょっとして礼拝堂の鍵ということは。
これをどこで。はい。これが礼拝堂の鍵です。
Wait. If that's the key to the chapel, then how the hell did they get inside? And if they didn't break any of the windows... Son of a bitch. Okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's added to the locked room mysteries. Put on the list. Oh, shit. Rosa approached the creepy magic circle once again and put the key in the keyhole. There was a strong resistance. After it resisted for a short while, it stopped resting with a chunk. Then, squeaking with a noise that hurt one's ears, it slowly began to open. Here we go.
誰かいるの?
Her voice reverberated throughout the massive room. Of course, there was no answer. The chapel had a high ceiling, and the air was cold. And even on this rainy, unsettling day, it felt sacred for some reason. The servants timidly followed after Rosa.
Rosa-sama, あれを.
Kanon noticed it immediately and pointed. Over there was the altar. In the place that would normally have a pastor preaching of God's love, there was a table that shouldn't have been there. What? At first it looked like a dining table. There actually were gorgeous plates and utensils placed there, making it look like a child's birthday party or something. Upon closer inspection, the surrounding area had been decorated with pumpkins and black and orange ribbons. They were probably Halloween decorations. And there were people seated at the table. Oh boy. 3 people on each side, facing each other, seated in chairs. They could be recognized at a glance. Klaus and his wife, Ava and her husband, and Rudolph and his wife. But if you wanted to be sure, you'd still have to go even closer and check. Because they seemed almost like dolls. Rose and the rest had opened the door, entered all at once with the sound of many footsteps, and called out, asking if anyone was there. And yet, there had been no reaction. Even if Rosa and the rest assumed they were being ignored, you'd still expect there to be some kind of reaction. And there hadn't even been that. So at first it felt like someone had set down some dolls that greatly resembled those people. By now it wasn't just Rosa. Shannon, Kanon, and even Goda. They were all fighting frantically with the creepy emotion that grasped their hearts. As she walked towards the altar, she called out again, but there's still no reaction. Yes, by now Rosa was sure of it. She was sure these weren't dolls, but the people themselves. They grew close enough to see clearly what lay on the table. It still looked like an adorable banquet, reminiscent of a child's birthday party. Plates piled up with sweets, cute pitchers of drinks. All kinds of pumpkin-shaped ornaments. They were all decorated in a Halloween style. While this probably wasn't the time to be thinking it, Maria would surely have been delighted to see all this. That was the state of the table they sat in front of, apparently asleep. It was an eerie scene, as though a small, fun-looking Halloween party had been stopped in time. I don't think sleeping is the right word. When she approached even closer to them, she realized that there were snacks scattered all over the floor. Candies, cookies, sodas, and chocolates, all with heavily fantasy-themed packaging. They were all scattered across a carpet covered with blackberry and cranberry jam. I don't think that's jam. Rose and the rest finally realized what the situation was. It was a Halloween party. A banquet for those not of this world. Klaus, Natsuhi, Ava, Hideroshi, Rudolph, and Kyrie were seated in chairs, apparently asleep, but all dead. Let's check the characters, baby. Let's see. Corpse found inside the chapel. Their direct cause of death is unknown, but it seems his stomach was cut open and his intestines were pulled out after his death. Additionally, sweets and candies were packed into his stomach. Jesus, welcome Maria, happy Halloween. Oh my god. Seems her stomach was cut open to their death. Additionally, see, didn't I tell you? Bellies are full of candy. Everyone has a belly that's filled with sweet dreams. A belly could never be full of disgusting things. That's why we want to be simple and sweet by candy. So this dreamland is for you. Happy Halloween. Holy shit! Oh, that is fucked up. Oh my god. Shit. And none of their faces are like half crushed in either. So the method of murder isn't the same either. Shit. How could you tell that they were dead and not simply sleeping? That was because they'd been vertically sliced open from their chests to their stomachs. Oh my god. The 6 of them had sat down at a Halloween party before having their stomachs split open, killing them. Then the jam covering the floor must be what overflowed from their stomachs once they stuffed themselves completely, right? No. The contents of their stomachs had been scattered all over the floor. And that wasn't all. Out of their stomachs, it was almost as though they poured out. As though snacks had overflowed from there. Candies and cookies, sodas and chocolates had poured out, stained with blood, and had scattered across the floor. What could have happened to cause this? It's almost as though their stomachs just stuffed full to bursting with sweets. It all poured out when their stomachs split open. Oh my god. Melissa remembered a certain shocking meal, a turkey that had been served at their own birthday. When it had been cut open with a knife, out forward one of her favorite foods. But since she had been told what was inside, the deep, deep red ketchup omelet rice poured out like bloody maggots. Pulsing, dripping, slimy, pulping, squelching. Jesus. And the thing is, with these CGs, I was wondering, like, what's that red stuff all over the candy? But it's the inside of their fucking stomachs. Oh my god. The trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt a monster raging inside her stomach as the acid started to rise. Unable to hold back, she threw it all up on the floor. Her empty stomach had nothing but stomach acid. The scene in front of her was no fraud in a Halloween party now. The 3 couples were enshrined right there, their stomachs vertically wrenched open with a yeah. So many snacks had been stuffed in there, pulpy, squishy. Blood and guts and sweets were overflowing onto the floor. Blood-stained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet snacks that made your fingers stick together, gummy. But stained with entrails, sloppy, pulpy. What was I just stepped on just now? That didn't feel like a candy or a cookie or soda or chocolate. I'm scared. What did I step on? I can't even look at the bottom of my foot. What a gruesome Halloween party. From far away it looked truly beautiful, fantastical, and fun. But from up close it was horrible, disgusting, and it's somehow still beautiful. Rosa's wild thoughts tried as best they could to escape her foot with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar. It's like, you know what this is reminding me of? The Last Supper. In a chapel, a Halloween party. God! I feel like this is going to be, just from this, is going to be more gruesome than Higurashi. I mean, just imagine someone's stomach cut open with just hundreds of, like, candy stuffed in it. Oh, God. Jesus. Christ.
救急車警察
嘘よ警察警察警察警察警察警察
If a word so tied to reality hadn't come out of Gota's mouth, Rosa and the rest would probably have found themselves unable to escape that nightmarish party even now. But it wasn't because they thought the police might be able to do something. If they didn't keep yelling about the police, it felt as though another seat might be set up at this demon's party and given to them. Their own chests felt like they were expanding and prison away from the inside. Rumbling, churning, and it was surely because candy was about to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa, once again tortured by a desire to vomit, threw her stomach acid up on the floor. And then she searched to see if there was any candy in it.
とにかく
Rosa called finally again, forcibly spitting out the stomach acid that had been burning in her throat. Ugh. She realized that by now her whole body had been covered in a filthy sweat.
源氏さんとシャナンちゃん、お父様に連絡して指示を仰いでちょうだい。郷田さんはカノン君と一緒に行って警察に電話を。あと南條先生に来てもらう。
Why even bring Dr. Nanjo here? It's a bit too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again stared at her siblings, with whom she'd spent good times and bad, and their partners. Though there could be nothing more tragic than this scene. For some reason, she was tempted to describe these fantastical deaths as beautiful. Shit. Okay, fuck. So each episode is going to be a different type of murder. With 6 people. And it's not even the same method either. There's no connection between the two of them. The first episode, their faces were smashed in, but this time around, it's them. No, like, doubt that it's like a body double or anything. Son of a bitch. Now the question is, where the hell is Beatrice? And that's the biggest question right now. Why show herself, then do this murder, and possibly stay on the mansion? Why show herself in the first place? Shit. Happy Halloween. Jesus. Ugh.
どこに行っちまったんだろうな。
使用人室も厨房も空っぽだぜ。一体どうしちまったってんだ。
弱ったね。バトラ君、本当にローザおばさんだったのかい？
まあ俺も寝ぼけてたから自信はねえんだが、明け方にローザおばさんが入ってきてマリアの手提げカバンを漁ってるような気がしたんだよ。俺はてっきりマリアの手提げに歯磨きのチューブでも入ってるんじゃないかなんて思って寝ぼけてて。
なんで歯磨きのチューブがマリアの手提げに入ってるんだよ。
I'm trying to think. Is there any relation for the locations? The shed and the chapel. The only thing that connects the two is that they're both separate buildings with unique locks to them. Well, the chapel is a unique key for it specifically. Well, with the shed, it could be opened with the master key. Or, am I wrong? Was it a separate key for the shed? No, I think it could be opened with the master key.
寝ぼけて夢でも見たに決まってんぜ。
But with this information, no, they never did find a memo in the dinner room of like go to the shed of the first episode. But we could surmise that Beatrice did the same thing. You know, got the 6 sacrifices into the shed and killed them. Badawara vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. Also, when Maria woke up before the rest of them, she started rampaging around, saying that someone had opened the envelope she'd been keeping safe. Putting two and two together, they figured that Rosa probably can't come and open the envelope.
黄金の魔女様の封筒か。中に何が入ってたんだろう。
わからないね。でもあの封筒はおじい様が新書に使う後ろ宮家の家紋の入ったものだった。親族会議と無関係なものが入っていたとは考えがたいね。
She hadn't let anyone touch it, but yesterday Maria had shown that envelope off to Vador and the rest a whole lot. So they remembered it well.
George の兄貴の言う通りなら相当重要なものらしいが、しかしそんな大事なものをどうして魔女様はマリアに渡したんだろうな。さっぱりだぜ。
So she could open it herself. That's why she left behind Happy Halloween for Maria. So that Maria would open it herself. That's why Beatrice gave that key to Maria. Man, Beatrice, you fucked up. Like, Jesus Christ, fuck. Every once in a while, the refreshing morning atmosphere was completely wiped out by the sound of thunder. It was only natural. Since the moment they'd woken up, they hadn't met anyone else. It felt like only they were left, as if the mansion had become an empty husk.
Oi! 誰かいないか? 返事してくれよ!
Jessica called out into the hallway, and eventually an answer came back. It came from the entrance hall.
聞こえますとも。何かありましたか？
南條先生だ。よかった。この島から僕たち以外が消えてしまったわけではないようだよ。
南條先生、おはようございます。すみませんが、うちの親たちとかどこに行ったか知りませんか？
はて、私も今起きてこちらに来たばかりですからな。わかりかねますが、さて。
It was only natural. Nacho wasn't just like the rest of them. He comes just now to pass the time in the parlor until breakfast. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's plump stomach, sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered by this ruckus so early in the morning. Nanjo doesn't have to hear all this. He's a professional doctor.
誰かかけてくるぜ。ジェシカ、誰か来るぞ。
From down the hall, they could sense people running her way. They saw Goda and Kanon coming towards them. Knowing where it would be disgraceful for a servant to run inside the mansion, and yet Battler and the rest didn't even feign to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable, they wanted to ask anyone, where Rosa was. The two servants seemed to have bigger things in their minds than Jessica, who was waving at them. Goda flew into the servant room, and when Kanon noticed that Nanjo was there, he bowed and approached the doctor at a quick pace before whispering something into his ear.
何ですって？ローザさんが。
はい。ご案内いたしますので、どうかご同行お願いいたします。
わかりました。
こちらへ。
Without saying anything more than that, Kanon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back down the corridor by which he had come, followed by Nanjo. I just thought of something. I just thought of something. The reason why if I remember, yes, I think every murder so far has been in a locked room, right? Now, this is a very important thing. The way that, well, I'm just going to assume it's Beatrice. The way that Beatrice murders people is that she cannot be viewed from the outside world. That's a very important, I feel like that's a very important fact or detail that we should keep in mind, is that she cannot be viewed by the world outside. She could still murder in, like, places with windows, but, like, there can't be an outside perspective that, like, you know, someone walks into the room or whatever while she's doing her thing. So that, once again, I think reinforces my theory that her magic is reinforced by belief, you know. So, like, let's say during the chapel scene, like, during the chapel murder or whatever, Nanjo walks in on it. What would happen? I'm curious. I'm very curious about that. I'm going to keep that. I need to write that down, actually, because that's a very important detail. But looking at how hurried they were, Bedouin and the rest realized that, yes, something bad really had happened. They saw Goda through the door to the servant room, which had been flung open. He was holding the receiver and violently pressing the hook. From that, they realized that he was trying to call a hospital or the police. In any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred. I wouldn't. An invitation, huh? Well, they didn't know what, but something was happening. Bador and the rest chased after Kanon and Nanjo. And then we realized Kanon-kun had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us. So we shouldn't have gone with them. I wonder if Alice regretted her excess curiosity when she chased after that rabbit holding a clock. Down the rabbit hole we go indeed. Oh shit.
Kasa-san! Tou-san! 何があったの?
Dude, Golden, I know I keep commenting on this, but Golden Swatter is such a great track.
なんだよこりゃ。趣味が悪いにも程があるじゃねえかよ。命を奪うならそれで十分事足りただろうがよ。なんだよこりゃ。わざわざ殺した後に椅子に座らせて腹裂いて歌詞をわざわざ中に詰め込んだってのかよ。なんだってなんだってそんな悪趣味なことをしやがるんだよ。チキショーチキショーやってくれやがるぜ。最高だよ最高だよ。
皆さんは外へ出られた方がいい。こんな姿を皆さんに見せたいなどと彼らが思うわけがありません。
Nanjo told the children to go outside, but no one listened.
ローザさん、皆さんに言ってください。こんなもの見続けてはどこになる。
Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have realized that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly walked up instead of standing around stunned. So the children had come here. They had seen it. Surely at this very moment they were having a sight burn into their eyes that was far more grotesque than the shocking meal Rosa had witnessed in her youth. But she hugged Maria, who seemed to be too shocked to show any emotion at this gruesome scene. Rosa cried for them and their parents. The four groaning and crying forces, their sadness continued to echo in a place that should have known God's love. Oh shit, meanwhile.
またこんな殺人を。しかも今度もやたらと凝った最高にふざけた殺し方をしやがって。
わらわはそんな嘆きより感謝の言葉が聞きたかったぞ。
Oh, shut up, Beatrice.
感謝と言ったがこのクソママ。
Oh, you old bitch, yeah.
てめえ。耳がいかれてやがるってんなら俺が両の耳を引き裂いてよく聞こえるようにしてやるぜ。なんで俺がこの最高にいかれた殺し方にありがとうございますベアトリーチェ様なんて言わなければならねえんだ。ぶっ殺してやる。
前回のゲーム、
Shit.
お前は自分の親の死に顔が見られないと嘆いたな。だから残したぞ。しっかり残した。よく拝んでおけ。間違いなく父親たちが殺されたことを。
Oh, you bitch.
そうかよ。そいつはサービス満点だぜ。気に入った。俺はてめえの息の根を止めたら顔面耕してやろうと誓ってたが、そいつは取り消してやるぜ。てめえの腹渡を引きずり出してやる。
感情に任せて思考を止めるな。すでにわらわのゲームは始まっておるのだぞ。わらわは今回は綺麗に死体を残すことに決めた。
Those goddamn fucking eyes.
なぜだかわかるか。前回のゲームでそなたがわらわの存在を否定するとき、こう考えて否定したである。それは顔面が潰され遺体の身元が確認できない。だから身代わりの死体を用意してアリバイを作った可能性が否定できない。
Oh shit.
その可能性が排除できない限り人間犯人説は維持できる。
Shit.
なんだと。
さあバトラー、南條に検視を任せてよいのか。ミステリーの古典では検視の医者がグルというのが伝統なのだろう。なら南條に検視を任せるな。そなたが自らするがよい。間違いなく6人の死体が当人で死んだふりなどでなく本当に死んでいることを十分に確認するがいい。お前の父親が母親が腹を裂かれて臓物を引きずり出されて殺されていることを腹に手を入れてその手触りで確認するがいい。
Oh, fucking bitch.
泣かねえ。
Oh, that is so fucking good, dude. That is actually we have now two stories here. We have the main story, which is this episode. Then we have the battle between Bador and Beatrice, which is kind of like the player versus the writer. You know? She's fucking right. That does get rid of the theory of it could be a human culprit. Oh, that's so fucking great. I love that so much. It really does feel like we are fighting against, you know, Beatrice herself by trying to come up with some way to figure all this out. Oh, it's so good. So good. That's so cool. I haven't seen any other story do this before. So fucking cool. Holy shit, that's actually fucking Beatrice. God damn it, throw out that whole fear of Rudolph. Shit.
ちくしょう。泣かねえぞ俺は。
Beatrice suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being a sissy, he slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze in both his eyes.
これだけの上等を決めやがった野郎に借りはがっちり返させていただくぜ。なら泣く時じゃねえ、自分のすべきことを考えろ。ああ、ダメだぜ、全然ダメだ。涙を流す暇があったら考えろ。涙腺なんかひるませる時じゃねえ。
Gotta think. Rather than genuine anger, maybe it was more of an evasive anger to blot out his sadness. However, it gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who'd been crushed by the sadness.
そうだね。僕たちが泣いても起こってしまった現実は変わらない。
じゃあどうすりゃいいんだ。私は父さんと母さんのために何をすればいいんだよ。
ローザ様、戻りました。
郷田さん、警察はどうでしたか。多様の指示はいつ頃来られそうだと言っていましたか。
それが電話が故障のようでして、非常用の無線機も試してはみたのですが、その天候のせいでしょうか、こちらも通じず。
なんですって。じゃあ警察に連絡がつかないということなの。あいつだ。あいつが電話線とかに採掘して警察に電話ができないようにしたんだ。
When she heard that the phones had broken down, Jessica immediately decided that it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying, and they began to grow even redder with rage.
もう議論の余地なんかねえぜ。全てが分かってる。そうだと分かる。父さんと母さんを殺したのは誰だ。決まってるぜ、あいつだ。昨日来たとかいう魔女様に決まってる。襟首ひねり上げてやるぜ。チクショーチクショーチクショー。ジェシカちゃん、お待ちなさい。郷田さん、カノ君、行って。
はい、お嬢様、お待ちを。
Covering her uncontrollable sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest who arrived yesterday, Beatrice, was suspicious. However, in that instant, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she'd just another guest, no more, no less. So Rosa, making an adult decision, was forced to stop Jessica at her last rampage. Yoda and Ken picked up on this immediately and chased after her.
誰にも招かれなかった客人、ベアトリーチェが犯人なんだろうか。
ジェシカの気持ちもわかる。そう思い込みたい気持ちは俺にもある。誰でもいいから犯人ってことにして横っ面をぶっ飛ばしてやりたい気持ちがある。だがその前にはっきりと理解する必要がある。ベアトリーチェって何者なんだ。俺は顔すら見てねえぜ。
青ならお屋敷に大きな肖像画で飾られてたよ。あれだけ見てまだ覚えられないのかな。
That now, Maria?
なんだよマリア、こんな状況で何がおかしいよ。
ベアトリーチェは魔女なんだよ。そして黄金鏡の扉を開くための儀式がいよいよ始まったの。この6人はその生贄なんだよ。さあさあ始まるよ、魔女の宴が。今宵はハロウィン。魔女たちが今こそ祝い集う。
マリア、その気持ち悪い声で笑うのをやめなさいっていつも言ってるでしょ。
the witch's banquet. The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed throughout the high-ceiling chapel. Ever since it started raining yesterday, no, ever since the island was swallowed by the typhoon, I felt as though something was wrong. It was bright and sunny when I arrived from Okajima, but since I got up early and was sleepy, I took a nap. When I woke up, it had already started raining, and ever since that time, suddenly a mysterious visitor calling herself the Golden Witch Beatrice arrived, and it felt like I was sinking bit by bit into a bizarre world. What the heck happened while I was napping? Am I supposed to believe this island was sealed off inside a different world where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? Is some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem, just like our parents are freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is the culprit this witch from the Legend of the Gold, just like Maria said? Even if we set Jessica's temper aside, given the circumstances, it's probably safe to say that this visitor person is the most suspicious. But we mustn't make up our minds based on that alone. It's useless, it's all useless! I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brains before they overloaded. Even though it might have been a wasted effort. On a tray piled with sweets that decorated the table, George and Keith found a Western envelope that had the usual Mira family crest done on it in golden leaf. It was unopened.
ってことは、それは俺たち宛てってことじゃねえのか。親父たちが読んだものだったなら開封されてるはずだぜ。
その推理は正解のようだよ。書いてある。残されし者たちへって書いてあるよ。
それは犯人が残した手紙なの。中身は。
兄貴、開けようぜ。
After nodding solemnly, George Haneke broke the seal. A folded letter came out.
読むよ。六軒島へようこそ。後ろ宮家の皆様方。私は金蔵様にお仕えしております当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
The alchemist, huh? That letter really was a joke. This Beatrice, who called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she lent grandfather, along with interest. Okay, so it's the same letter as before, huh? Yep. Beatrice Sama, therefore I acknowledge my resignation, and now there's 1.9 quality. After hearing this, you may. There's special clause, collected gold, question of interest will put. If it proposes terms, I shall return everything, including the portion that's already been collected. Taking possession of the usual family head's ring, which signifies the passage of. I asked you to. It's already publicly displayed location under the rules. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight I ask you to enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the forest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden. So yeah, the same letter from the first episode, pretty much. Okay. And that interest was everything grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes as this paragraph was being read aloud, it clearly wasn't referring just to the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that grandfather had created. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included in the interest.
ふざけやがって。なんてめちゃくちゃな契約だ。黄金の利子は命だってのかよ。そんなのまるで悪魔の契約じゃねえかよ。
Pretty much is.
それで魔女気取りってわけか。笑わせやがるぜ。
特別条項。ただし 隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れた時、ベアトリーチェはこの権利を全て永遠に放棄しなければならない。
For all time, Interesting.
黄金の隠し場所についてはすでに金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に碑文にて公示されております。
And we know Kraus had a single gold bar. That still hasn't been brought up, but I remember that fucking scene. Kraus has a single gold bar, but we have no idea where he got it from. At all. So Kraus knows something. I wonder if Kraus is going to be killed in every time in these first murders. I wonder. Yeah, that is right. In the first episode, after this letter was read aloud in the dinner, Kraus did show Natsuki that single gold bar he got. That's right.
つまりこういうことだね。もしこの殺人が利子の回収行為だというなら、それを止める条件としておじい様に与えた隠し黄金を探し出してみると。そしてその秘密は例の肖像画の碑文に隠されているとも言ってる。
I still got no idea.
つまりこいつは魔女様の挑戦状ってわけか。黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますと、そう言ってやがるわけか。
Maybe the reason why she'll give it up if someone solves it is because Beatrice wants a battle. She wants to keep thinking, as we've seen it before in the witch's tea party, that the only way to survive as a witch is to keep thinking. And so, I guess Beatrice set up this challenge in order to play this chess match against either Kinzo or Badwer. That's why she'll give it up. She will, lose if they can find the gold. I think that's the reason why she'll give it up. She doesn't care about, reincarnate or being revived. She cares about having a challenge. I think that's what it is.
ぶっ殺してやる。上等だ。バトラ君、これ。
Look at what? The table was covered with sweets. So even though things were right out in the open, we just assumed they were sweets too. I mean, come on. You see them a lot, right? Oh! Those boxes of chocolate shaped like gold ingots! Oh, shit! That has to be Kraus. That has to be Kraus's gold bar.
本物だ。こりゃ本物の金塊だ。
片翼のわしの紋章が刻印されてる。前に母さんが話してたのを聞いた。これはおじい様の黄金伝説の金塊だよ。
Just to go to show that the legend does exist. Gold ingots weighing a full 10 kilograms, all 3 of them were piled up in the very center of the table. 3? It was where a cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family conference.
これが本当に純度49のインゴットだったなら、6000万円くらいの価値はある。
バカ野郎！安すぎる！俺たちの親が6人も殺されて、そこに積まれた黄金がたったの6000万円だと！バカにするんじゃね
さあ始まったね、ベアトリーチェ。 どうせこの謎は誰にも解けないよ。だから絶対にベアとの勝ち。
Shut up, Maria. I will solve the fucking riddle.
早く黄金鏡への扉を開いて、そしてマリアを連れてって。
Holy shit. Okay, fuck. Free gold bars. Free. Not just one.
お嬢様、どうか気をお静めください。
Oh shit.
誰が犯人かはまだ分かりませんぞ。
Where the fuck is Beatrice?
それにベアトリーチェ様、親方様の大切な賓客です。
だからなんだってんだ。本人の胸ぐらひねり上げてやれば白状するに決まってるぜ。目を見ればわかるんだよ。私が見破ってやる。何が魔女だ、ベアトリーチェだ。化けの皮を剥いでやる。
Jessica never stopped moving. Goda and Kanon chased after her, doing their best to convince her to stop, but Jessica never went them in the ear. Eventually, the witch's VIP room came into view. This VIP room was always sealed and never used. No matter what kind of guest came, Kinzo wouldn't let them in there. And yet, the servants were always made to clean this room so that it could be used at any time. So the servants had started calling this room the witch's VIP room after their second shapeless master. Jessica knew about this too. And she couldn't forgive the arrogance of the one who called herself a witch by saying that room. Where the hell is Kumasawa, by the way? I think that's the only character we still don't know where she is at all. Is she in the furnace? Oh, shit. Maybe not, I don't know. The Golden Witch was just a fairy tale. Come on, a witch? To Jessica, she was nothing more at rest than the murderer who had brutally killed her parents. Questioning her, heal her pitiful excuses, make her sputter in pain, gasp in anguish. No matter how hard she pretends to be a witch, I'll teach her that she's just a stinking, sweaty human. Jessica yelled with all of her strength. She hit the door to the VIP room. It definitely wasn't a knock. The sound was the beating of her anger's hammer, as if she was determined to break the door down if it wasn't opened.
開けろよ、ベアトリーチェ。出てこい。聞こえてるんだろ。ここを開けろ。
There was no answer. Jessica grabbed the doorknob without any reservation, but she felt the resistance of the lock. She turned around to look at the two servants and spoke.
ここマスターキーで開くんでしょ。開けて。
お嬢様、それは大変な失礼に当たります。
Goda! The 6 people are dead! Although Goda was frustrated, he still tried to somehow calm Jessica's anger. After hanging his head solemnly for a while, Ken pulled a master key from his jacket pocket.
カノンさん、いいんですか？
もしおられたなら無礼になるのは承知です。それにもしベアトリーチェ様が何の関係もないというなら、それを僕たちに釈明して納得させればいい。
Of course, Kanon would be willing to open the door.
そうだぜ、その通りだ。借りるぜ。
Jessica snatched the master key from Ken's hand and finally shoved it into the keyhole. Immediately, there was a small sound, and she felt the lock click. Then, without asking permission, she flung the door open.
Beatrice!
Where is she? Is she dead? Is she gone? Jessica rudely stepped into the room. The witch wasn't anywhere to be seen.
いねえぜ。どこ行きやがった。
お姿がありませんね。
Jessica, thinking she might be hiding somewhere inside the room, peeked behind the curtains and under the bed, but she couldn't find anyone. However, there definitely were signs that the bed had been used. And though it was only a vague sense, the atmosphere in the room felt a little soft. It wasn't the hard atmosphere of the place, normally devoid of people like the chapel. You could definitely tell that someone had spent the night in this room, but she could not be seen. In reality, neither Jessica nor Gorda had met Beatrice. They had only been told by those who had met her that she looked like a double of the character in that portrait, so they were doubtful about what her face really looks like. However, Kanon alone had met her. He understood what kind of being that witch was, what kind of personality she had. So he knew that forcing their way in here in search of her definitely wouldn't work out. She must be watching us pitifully flare about in vain from somewhere, sneering at us. She's that kind of person. Because he was looking at things that way, Kanon was the first to find it. The other two were concentrating on fighting the shadow of a person so they didn't notice. Near a water jug on the side table, there was a single sheet of letter paper. On it was a short message. Nearby was a fountain pen, which had probably been used to write it. Kanon had already come to understand the witch. After finding the corpses, they'd been overcome by rage and barged in here, only to find no one, so of course the witch would mock them. You can't mock someone unless they know they're being mocked. So, in other words, that's what this must be. Jessica dashed over and violently snatched the piece of paper away. She probably wasn't trying to be violent. She just couldn't control her and shrank right down. What does it say? As soon as she read the message, Jessica went into a wild rage, crumpled the paper up and threw it. Then she grabbed a light stand by the bedside and violently swung it around, mercifully hitting the walls and furniture with it. The light bulb was all shattered at once and the fragments were scattered across the room.
お嬢様、気をお沈めください。お怪我をなさいます。
離せよ。畜生、畜生。出てきやがれ、ベアトリーチェ。よくも父さんと母さんを。そんなに私が怖えんかよ。殺してやる。殺してやる。ぶっ殺してやるから姿を現しやがれ。だから離せって言ってんだろ。くそー。
This was written on the paper.
私がぬくぬくとここであなたが飛び込んでくるのを待ちぼうけるとでも知的な夜に粗暴なるあなたは似合わない。こんな間抜けに育てた親はどんな顔？
Oh, fuck you, Beatrice.
見たよ。本当にそっくりな間抜け面。今はお菓子の国でお腹いっぱい。
Oh, fuck you, Beatrice. It was the sort of thing that witch would write. It meant she predicted that one of the children who lost their parents would come running in here. If she was hiding somewhere in this room, she must be rolling around laughing now. The witch was that kind of person. She sneered at people's misfortune, using it to stave off the boredom of 1,000 years.
これはお渡しください。お怪我をなさいますと申し上げております。
離せって言ってんだよ。くそー、くそー。
Goda snatched away the red stand Jessica had been holding. After all, if she kept swinging it around, she might end up smashing it against something which could cause serious injury. To Goda's eyes, Jessica probably looked mad with rage, burning herself up with the flames of anger. But Kanon's eyes saw it differently. Those were probably tears of sadness, hidden by rage. So, when the right stand was taken from Jessica, And she started crying on the floor, scratching at the carpet almost as though she was groveling. Goda was surprised, but Kanon was not. Of course, she had lost her means of crying by lashing out in rage. Considering that she was the daughter of the Ushiro family, she was in a very shabby state. She scratched at her carpet with her fingernails, and even her feet were scratching. Jessica cried very, very hard. Because if she didn't, her rage would start building up again and swallow her up. But over and over again, she remembered that humiliating message. I can only imagine that what the person who raised you to be such a moron must have looked like. Aww. Alright. I saw them, and they looked just as moronic as you. Now their bellies are full in the land of sweets. As Jessica cried and screamed, she triggered an asthma attack. The servants watching over her hurriedly ran up to her and rubbed her back, but that only provoked Jessica's wrath. Jessica got up unsteadily. As her asthma continued, she went out into the hallway.
お嬢様、お薬を至急。南條先生をお呼びします。
ゴーダさん、僕に任せてくれませんか?
Kanon noticed Goda, who was vastly separated from her in age, probably couldn't sense the tears in Jessica's heart. Kanon, who had noticed, had to be the one to support her.
カノンさん、いいのですか?
今のお嬢様には涙を流す時間も必要なのだと思います。ご両親のあんな死に方を目の当たりにしては。
そうですね。
Goda also understood. And he knew that Jessica and Kanon shared a vague relationship with each other. So he understood everything and left it to Kanon.
わかりました。私はローザ様のところへ戻ります。お嬢様をくれぐれもよろしくお願いしますよ。
はい、お任せを。
Kanon's voice was frail, but he nodded firmly. After looking at his eyes, Goda nodded firmly as well. Goda was a veteran with many years behind him. He'd seen a great number of people in his life, so he knew the vigorous sparkle that could be found in the eyes of those who possessed self-control. He had sure always seen that in Kanon's eyes. so he would weave this to Kanon. When you think about it, maybe this was the first time Goda had ever trusted Kanon and relied on him for a job. Jessica still, oh, that's good for Goda. Jessica, still suffering from asthma, seemed to be heading towards her room, though she kept leaning against the wall. Ken followed her wordlessly. If she had asked for a hand, he would have leapt forward and supported her. But until Jessica did ask for that, he chose to hide himself, watching over her from a distance where he could come to her rescue at any time. When people feel their hearts are about to explode from sadness and want to have someone by their sides, you can bet 10 billion of them would want to turn around and find someone in the place Kanon now stood. As he watched over Jessica from behind, then finally she doubled over in front of the door to her room. The asthma attack had stolen all of her strength, and her thoughts had gotten hazy from the lack of oxygen, making it impossible even to stand up again. But right then, Jessica didn't think she wanted someone to lend a hand. She still hadn't been able to overcome the flames of anger. Even if someone had offered her a hand with good intentions, Jessica would have wanted to tear it off right then. She knew how unfair that would be. So she definitely wouldn't ask for help until she overcame the fiery anger burning inside. Jessica probably lost the willpower even to call for help. But Kanon heard it. He definitely heard it. Kanon definitely heard that voiceless call for help, one shared by miserable grievers the world round, an endless scream that no one ever seems to hear. Kanon quietly knelt by Jessica's side and wordlessly offered her a shoulder. Though Jessica kept coughing painfully, she accepted it, unlocked the door to her room, and entered. Oh.
こちらへ。今、お薬をご用意します。
Jessica often said that when her asthma got serious enough, it hurt so bad that it felt like she vomited up her whole stomach. Her face was pale and her gaze wavered. And yet the coughing continued. Even so, her sadness was probably even stronger. After having her sit on the bed, Kanon took a blancavitator from a cute little basket on a nearby side table and handed it to her. Jessica sometimes forgot to take her medicine with her. Whenever this seemed to have happened, Kanon would take notice and secretly carry around the inhaler from the first aid kit in the servant room, but he hadn't done so today. He scolded himself, as though wondering how he could call himself furniture after failing to bring it with him on a day like this. Then he remembered the day when he used that word and somehow betrayed Jessica's feelings. It jarred Ken's heart, but he felt it would be indiscreet to think about something like that, considering how Jessica felt now, and he locked it up inside the depths of his heart. When she inhaled her medicine, Jessica's wild breathing calmed down a bit by bit, and she was finally able to regain her composure. But she lost too much strength and willpower to get up from the bed.
"Daijoubu desu ka, Ojo sama?"
私は大丈夫だぜ。父さんと母さんはダメだけど、私はもうちょっとなきゃ大丈夫だぜ。
Ken regretted his poor choice of words. Did he really say, "Are you all right" to her? Was he really that clueless of the pain in her heart? This was what made him furniture. This was why he couldn't become human.
廊下におります。ご用がありましたら、すぐにお呼びください。
Kanon understood that she still needed some time to cry alone. He told her to call him at any time, bowed, and tried to leave the room. Jessica had spoken up as though she wanted him to stop, so Kanon stopped. If she asked it, I'll do anything I can to help her. Right now I'd become even a cane or a chair if it would help ease the pain in her heart. If by doing that I could make up for the pain I dealt to her heart on that day. For a while, Jessica stared into Ken's eyes. It was as though her reason for stopping them was something she couldn't put into words. For a while, neither spoke. Jessica broke the silence. With a small voice. For just an instant, it looked like some kind of hope had flooded into Jessica's eyes. But it was very faint and disappeared like the first snow on the surface of a river. Ken bowed once again and closed the door. He'd thought those words of his would give her some courage. But now it felt as though they'd actually hurt her for some reason. Why? He didn't know. Surely that was because he was furniture. That was why he couldn't grasp human sadness even now. As Ken repeatedly questioned himself, he walked down the corridor. He felt like the window at the corridor's end was coolly calling to him. It was still pouring outside, a dark, gray world. Even on days like this, Shannon would surely see the ocean and know that it was blue. But to my eyes, even if it cleared up, I would only see gray. Until I can understand the blue of the ocean, I'll be nothing but furniture imitating a person.
本当に女心のわからぬやつよ。ああいう時は黙ってそばにいるのが正解だ。だからゆえに貴様は家具なのよ。
貴様。
There shouldn't have been any trace of human life in this corridor. It had been an empty corridor filled with frigid air. But those scoffing words approached Ken from behind. When he turned around, he saw that witch. That witch who had shown herself when Jessica had searched for her with a rage bordering on madness and who had left that sneering letter to toy with Jessica.
女の傷つけ方は3つある。特別にわらわが教えてやろう。一つは刃物で傷つける。一つは心で傷つける。そして最後が一番難しく、一番効果的に傷つけられる。なのに意識せずして傷つけられる。わかるか？わ
かるわけもないし、知りたくもない。
一 待を裏切るだ。女ほど夢見がちな生き物はいない。勝手に夢を見、勝手に傷つく。お前のような距離の男が一番女を傷つける。わかるまいな、貴様には。どれほどジェシカを傷つけてきたか全く考えが及んでいまい。
God damn it, Beatrice.
家具だから。
God fucking damn it.
お前のたわごとに付き合う気は毛頭ない。僕を嘲笑うためだけに姿を現したというのか。
うぬぼれるな家具。貴様ごとき嘲笑うにも足りぬわ。しかしそなたも一人ではそれに値しなくても二人揃えば十分に足りる。若々しき男女の悲運を笑う喜びは何度繰り返しても飽きぬのでな。
なんだと。まさか貴様お嬢様を。
第二の場と生贄に寄り添う二人が必要なのでな。お前たち二人は実に都合が良い。
待て、勘違いするな。僕はお嬢様とそういう関係じゃない。第二の番の生贄にはならない。
だからお前はジェシカを傷つける。だからお前は人間になれぬ。ならばよいだろう。貴様がジェシカを思い人と認めぬならばそれを受け入れてもよい。だがジェシカは殺す。
なぜ。
Shit.
このバカが。決まっておろうが。殺したらそなたが歪めるだろう。その表情が楽しいからの他に何の理由が必要なのか。
Holy shit.
儀式に従いわらわは気まぐれに13人を生贄とする。だがそれ以上殺してはならないとの決まりはない。わらわが楽しければ幾人でも殺す。だから殺す。わらわを思いっきり笑わせてみせろよ。カグカノン。
Oh, fuck you, Beatrice. At that time, Kanon definitely heard Jessica scream. What? Woody blinked and looked down the corridor. The witch who supposedly been there so nonchalantly just a second ago was gone. At that moment, he was just standing there all alone in the corridor, doing nothing. What is this music? And the person he wanted to protect was asking for help from far away in that direction. It was obvious what he should do. It wasn't logical. It was an electric reflex. Without a trace of hesitation or distraction. There was a person he wanted to protect, and she was asking for help. And at that moment, he genuinely wanted the person by her side to be with him. When he flew into Jessica's room, the scene that greeted his eyes was a bizarre one. The room had become a fantastical world where a blizzard of gold-colored specks danced, almost as though gold leaf had been scattered inside a snow globe. No, that's not it. I've seen this spectacle before. This isn't gold leaf. It's countless golden butterflies, Beatrice's minions. Oh, shit. Jessica was surrounded by countless butterflies, waving her hands around, trying frantically to drive them away.
お嬢様。
カノン君、助けて。
Shit, Kanon rushed towards Jessica and finally brushed the crowd of butterflies away. The butterflies, which were sickening despite their beauty, surrounded Jessica's face, trying to crawl in for her mouth and nose. Oh my god. Jessica choked violently, almost as though the butterflies were triggering an asthma attack, mocking her. But when Kanon ran towards her, the butterfly stopped attacking and began to dance an elegant rondo around the pair. As he stood guard in front of Jessica, who was using her inhaler and seemed to be in pain, Kanon yelled into the empty air. And when he did, the empty air did indeed laugh back, satisfied. Holy shit. Then she showed herself. It wasn't in response to Kanon's demand. It was obviously because appealing and sneering would bring them even more humiliation, and plus it was more fun.
これで全ては筋書き通りよ。今やそなたは相乗の恋よな。いや、二人が揃ったのだから、カモとネギと呼ぶべきか。
Duck with green onions. Let me check that on my grimoire real quick. Duck and green onions are the primary ingredients for a duck stew. In this case, life stew, a duck comes from marrying green onions, in which a duck approaches carrying its own seasoning with being. For tradition. Perhaps because of the circle. This game is called a duck in Japanese. Oh, that's a cool fact. Anyway, back to this.
Beatrice! お下がりください。お嬢様、僕が守る。
姫に騎士が揃わば魔女が現れるのは必然よ。どれ、金蔵の家具がどの程度の力を持つか見せてもらおうではないか。
She snapped her fingers over a piercing sound. When she did, a blizzard of gold butterflies were stirred up, and they began to form a small mountain as they whirled around in a circle. It was just like the swing of a cold, wintry wind that builds up a mountain of leaves. What the fuck is that? From that mound of gold, a hand sprouted, and it appeared, as though a resonance of the world below was crawling up from beneath the ground. Who the fuck is that? Jessica couldn't comprehend what she was seeing right now, and her mouth kept flopping open and closed. It was a bite of wisdom, seen in those trying to understand something incomprehensible. What the fuck? Huh? That thing crawled up was probably an attendant who served the witch. It appeared to be wearing a uniform suitable for one who served. But its face was wrong. It looked strange. It was covered with pitch black hair, breathed rotten breath, and its eyes were filled with the same strange subterranean glow as lava. And to symbolize its non-human status, it had two horns. But it was the figure of a goat-faced attendant who served the witch. What the actual fuck? By now, Jessica had no idea what she should say. All of this is happening in front of her, couldn't be explained with common sense, and she couldn't do anything except open and close her mouth. Jessica hadn't realized. She hadn't realized that this island had already been cut off from the rules of our world. But there were some things even she could understand. This gold attendant served the witch and was after her life. Apparently the witch had already given it the order. She was looking at Kanon with an expectant gaze. She looked at him with an expectant and therefore challenging gaze, as though asking him how he intended to protect this maiden. Though the attendant had looked especially bestial while crawling to its feet. You could see in the way it carried itself that it possessed more than enough grace to be worthy of serving the Golden Witch. And you could tell that it was overflowing with the joy of furniture waiting to meet its master's expectations.
見せてもらおうではないか。金蔵の家具の力を。今度は間違えるの？家具であることを忘れるな。この後に及んで人間のふりを続けるのなら、死ぬのはお前だけでは済まぬぞ。
The goat attendant made what seemed to be a solemn, respectful bow. Was it directed at its master, or was it offered to Kanon, its opponent? Then on the attendant's hand, a blade of wicked malice appeared. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? I feel like we've just gotten into like fucking Fate. Jessica unable to understand what was happening before her eyes for a while now. All she understood was that this glow in front of her existed for the purpose of ending her life. And right now, that was enough. Kanon spoke quietly to Jessica, who was hiding behind his back. This is fucking insane, dude!
姫君はおとなしく騎士殿の背中に隠れているがいい。自らの命を男に守らせる醍醐味でも存分に味わえばよい。さあカノン、お前の刃を見せてみよ。美しい。
What the fuck?
金蔵は家具を生み出すことに関してだけはわらわの足元に及ぶやもしれぬ。
こんなものバラの手入れにも使えない。
カノン君、それは
見せたくなかった。
はあ？
よくぞ抜いたぞ。思いを寄せる女の前で己が人間以下の存在であることを晒した気分は
Subhumanity？
どんなものよ。
黙れ。
憤怒で己を焦がしているくせに冷静を装うか。なるほど。真に熱き炎は青く静かだという。今のそなたがそうだというのか。
僕の力でお前を殺すことなどできるわけもない。お前は月、石つぶてを投げたとて月を砕くことなどできるわけもない。
My power？
だがお前は権限するために水面にその姿を映す。
Reflect your image, huh?
水面に石つぶてを投じれば一時
So it's like
月を乱すこともできるかもしれない。
So like it's a copy of Beatrice. This is. I feel like I'm playing a different visual novel. What the fuck is happening? Holy shit!
しかし月を砕くことなど至らない。だから僕はこの命尽きるまでお前の映る水面を叩き続けてやる。
気に入ったぞカノン。始めろ家具ども。
Oh my god. What the fuck am I playing? What am I playing right now? What is this game? What the fuck? What the fuck?
ほう、美しい奇跡だ。
The witch's words of admiration broke the silence, and for just an instant they broke Jessica's paralysis.
私は夢を見てるの。
来い、魔女のかぐめ。元来た地獄へ叩き落としてやる。うわっ
Oh my god. This is insane. A strand of red had been left on Ken's cheek. The witch saw this and grinned broadly.
勘が戻らぬことを言い訳につぶやいてもよいぞ。
Your instincts haven't returned?
カノン君、しっかり。
大丈夫。僕はまだ死なない。
Kill that fucking goat, Kanon, do it! Shit. The hell was that? Oh, fuck. The curve drawn by the goat attendant's blade drew a large arc in empty space. Kanon wasn't there. He was behind it.
先に帰りて。主の帰りを待つがいい。行け。
Holy shit. That was literally a that was literally right behind you, kid. Nothing personal. What the fuck? If this battle of drawing sparkling curves was chess, then Kanon coming from behind was check. And press and press and press and press. Use 7 moves and make it mate. Perhaps the goat attendant hadn't even been granted the ability to go into death throes. As its knees buckled and fell over, it broke into a bunch of gold butterflies with a pop. Yeah, Kanon! Fucking won! So there was no sound of it hitting the ground. Even those unable to understand this battle would surely realize that Kanon had been magnificent.
ハンドメイドには勝てぬか。そこまで見下げたものではないらしい。
A handmade piece.
次はお前だ。ベアトリーチェー!
Turned into golden butterflies. The instant Kanon's blade sliced diagonally through the witch's form like a knife through butter, she turned into gold and burst. She scattered into several thousand golden butterflies, and for just an instant the room was filled with the color of twilight. It was just as Kanon himself had said. Slicing Beatrice was just the same as slicing the surface of the water where the moon was reflected. The witch's form, with an ordinary expression on its face, as though she'd been there the whole time, was right behind Kanon.
十分に面白い見せ物であったぞ。それに免じ見逃してやろうかと思ったが、今の無礼で気が変わった。
Oh
嘘を
shit.
つくな。お前にお嬢様を殺させはしない。 たとえそれが無理でも僕より先に殺させはしない。
お前にはそれすらできぬわ。喋るな家具が。無口であれ家具が。身の程を知れ家具が。
That goddamn expression. Ugh.
カノン君は家具なんかじゃない。
ほう、なぜそう言えるのか。
理由なんかいらない。カノン君はカノン君だよ。本当の名前は別にあるけれど、それでも名前は家具じゃない。カノン君にはカノン君の生き方がある。それはとても高潔なもので、自らが決めるもの。家具だから意見しちゃいけないとか、家具だから自分の人生を持っちゃいけないとか、そんなのないよ。
お嬢様、あいつを挑発してはいけません。
はっきり言っておくぜ。カノン君は家具じゃない。人間だよ。どうして？カノン君は自分の意志で私を助けに駆けつけてくれた。そして恐ろしい魔女であるあんたの前に立ちはだかってくれた。私を見捨てることなんていくらでもできただろうに、そうしなかった。自己犠牲は人間だけが持つ高潔な精神だ。だからカノン君は人間なんだ。だから訂正しろ。カノン君を家具だなんて呼ぶな、二度と。
お嬢様。
Oh shit.
語るな人間が。
Fuck.
とっとと終わらせよう。何しろまだまだ第二の番。互いの尊厳を認め合う寄り添いし二人を今こそ生贄に捧げよ。
Son of a bitch.
さあさあおいでなさい。罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。色欲。
The witch summoned her furniture with a mixture of laughter and anger on her face. What the fuck?
茶番は飽きた。第二の番を速やかに遂行せよ。わらわに瞬きを三つも許すな。
仰せのままに。
また妙なのが出やがったぜ。
Wait, the stakes are people? Wait, what? It took him less than an instant to understand. That goat face from a second ago had been nothing more than a pawn to the witch. However, this newly summoned furniture was a game piece with a vastly different value.
素敵な獲物に恵まれるなんて、なんて幸運なのかしら。怯えてる？
I swear to God, I feel like I just like stopped reading a fucking like murder mystery novel and I've gone into a fucking shonen battle manga.
来い、魔女の家具。お前には殺されない。
私の姿を追うこともできないノロマのくせに生きがって。行くわよ。ねえねえ、どこがいい？どこを貫いてほしい？お答えなさいよ、かわいい子。あなたの好きなところを思い切り貫いてあげる。
Yeah, she's the stake of lust, alright?
さあさあ、お答えなさいよ、かわいい子。
僕を可愛いと言うな。
行くわよ、ノルマ。さあ追ってごらん、その節穴で。
Holy shit! Also, I can see why now that this game has a fighting. There's a fighting game for this game, and it all makes... Now everything, you know, has come together, but fuck.
お嬢様。目では追えなかったけどよ。読みは当てたぜ。ざまあ見やがれ。
Kanon's back had been the target, but Jessica had predicted it. Oh, she predicted that the witch's target would be the complete opposite of fair and honest, this back. But she had no way to block it. She hadn't planned on it being some act of self-sacrifice. She just couldn't think of any other way to protect Ken's back. So she could do nothing but block it with her own back. The furniture of the witch would have changed its form into a demon stake, was buried deep into Jessica's back. It was obviously a fatal wound that reached as far as her lungs. When she saw this, the witch let out a loud, evil laugh, because it had hit where the witch had predicted. Everything was as the witch had predicted.
どうしたカノン。ジェシカお嬢様はお前より先には殺されなかったんじゃないのか。そうそう、それその顔よ。お前のその顔が見たかった。
You fucking bitch. Oh, you fucking bitch. Fuck.
もうよい、死ね死ね、笑わせろ。さあさあおいでなさい。罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。フンド。
Wrath? Oh shit.
フンドのサタン、ここに。
その獲物はお前のものだ。今すぐ食らってこやつの舞台に幕を下ろしてやれ。人ならば交番とも言おうが、家具のお前の場合は大道具係が舞台裏に運び出すといったところか。
僕はもう家具じゃない。そしてそれを二度と疑わない。
なーに？あんたまた私に殺されちゃうの？あんたの胸温かくて本当に貫くと気持ちがいいのよ。
Find me again. Oh! Oh shit, that's right! Fucking Kanon did get staked in the heart last time. Oh fuck!
さあ、また味合わせて。あなたの温かい胸の中で熱い熱い血潮で私を思いっきり気持ちよくして。
Oh shit. There was no way to block it. The sound of a woodpecker filled the entire room. Before he could blink, he was already right in the center of his chest. When you take a piece in chess, the rules say it's impossible for your opponent's piece to defend itself. So this was an obvious result, in accordance with the rules. Ken landed on his knees, and he apologized. Not to the witch, and not to Milady. He apologized to Jessica.
ごめん。守りきれなかった。
Kanon finally fell over. He landed next to Jessica, and the two lay there like the constellation Gemini.
カノン君はさ、もう家具じゃないよ。
はい。それに気づくのが遅すぎた。
君の本当の名前聞きたかった。
僕の本当名前は
Say it, please. In his last moments, Kanon wanted to tell her his real name, but Jessica had already fallen into a sleep from which she would never wake. No. So Kanon's real name, which he had protected until today, in the end, he couldn't tell it to Jessica.
僕は人間になれ
Those were the last words Ken left behind. Holy shit, man.
100年を経ようと家具は家具よ。捨てる時に家具のために墓穴を掘るバカがどこにいる？家具は叩き割って薪にして後には灰しか残らぬ
Fuck
わ。
you, Beatrice.
そういうことよ。家具に刻める墓碑などない。貴様は死ねばこれ以上の屈辱を受けることがないと信じてるようだが、それは甘いぞ。死者を恥ずかしめるというのがどういうものか。
Disgrace. Oh, fuck. After taking a puff from her pipe, the witch breathed in the smoke at Kanon's corpse. When she did, Kanon's corpse softly floated up into the air and disappeared as though it had been eaten by a mouth in empty space. The witch played dirty until the very end. The corpses of the pair who managed to understand each other in the end were not even permitted to be close. Fuck you, Beatrice. If someone had been watching, they would probably say mournfully, so this is what you meant by disgracing the dead. However, Beatrice was far crueler than that. The reason for that would soon become apparent. Oh. Meanwhile, in Kenzo's study. Oh my god, I'm stopping here. But oh my god, that changed so much. That single fucking chapter. What the fuck? Oh my god. It's, I think the way to describe what I'm feeling right now, just in accordance to that whole chapter, is the end of episode 6, if I remember correctly, of Higurashi. That same feeling of just unbelievability of what the fuck am I seeing? I think with that single chapter, everything's changed. I don't know how to explain that. I can't even begin to explain that. I don't even have the words to. Wow. How can I even disprove that was... Wow. That's all I can say is wow. I don't have any words to convey, like, what the fuck just happened. I don't. So the stakes are... It's like fucking Soul Eater. The stakes are actual, like, women, I guess. Okay. So that explains... Those are Beatrice's pieces. If she's the king, and Bador is the king as well. Or, like, no. If Bador, yeah, if she's the chess master, those are her pieces, the goats, and the different stakes. And Bador's pieces are the rest of the humans within the mansion. Holy shit, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I got no words. But god damn it. Kanon was about to say his name, but Jessica died, and now what the hell is she... What is Beatrice going to fucking do to Kanon's corpse? Man. Holy shit. So, yeah. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Or tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Which you got a Discord server hanging out in, or my church. Check the description below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys, next time. See ya!